hydro during the coldest month that I'd experienced living there. It was glorious. And the neighbors were not very happy. My roommate did message them and be like, hey, by the way, this is happening. And they were not impressed, but I was amused. Okay, there we go. All right, let's color in Olive Stan's. Were you roomies with Haverhagen from Twerp? No, I did know the guys from Twerp. I worked with.
That was Twitch TV. The homepage of Twitch TV. Anyways.
Oh, God bless you. I'm sorry.
You're okay? Imagine if you had someone around who was always concerned every sound that you make. Are you okay? What would you do?
Crazy.
Really? Because of them?
Yeah.
Oh.
Oh my goodness.
All right, here we go. God bless you.
Thank you.
Start game. I need like a hold on wait type of thing in the beginning of the videos. But I don't have that yet. To get that, I would have had to start the live stream at 8:30 instead of 8. You should really thank someone for making it so I feel like I don't have to care about how the live streams are imperfect. There's someone that you should thank. There are actually a few people you should thank. Mom.
Okay.
Whoa.
I don't know who.
Well, no, I'm not judging you. I'm just saying, like, you aren't having to be argued with about, you know, sneezing and things like that. Like, excuse me, I am recording. You know, obviously I don't feel that way, but there are a few live streamers you should thank. You should thank I Show Speed. Okay. You should also thank thank Dr. Disrespect, and thank his editor as well. Thank Dr. Disrespect's editor Alex, and then also thank thank I have to think. I have to remember who. Penguin Zero. Why don't you look them up and watch some of their videos or something? No? Why not?
I'm not interested right now. I will later.
Why don't you write it down so that you remember? You don't want to type it on your phone. Now! There we go. Game's up. If you were to be promoted, or basically sold, how would you like to be promoted or sold?
That's a weird question.
To an audience. That fix the question?
I guess something kind of unique.
You want to be seen as unique? You?
If I was trying to sell myself to an audience, yes.
Why?
Because commonplace is commonplace. Unique means something different, out of the ordinary. Doesn't mean I am what I would try to sell.
Well, I think you're unique. Yep. I think everyone was getting all caffeine mixed up around here. There's a mismanagement in some way. Alright, welcome. You have been accepted into Orwell. Please create a profile. So just to warn you all, I played this game a little bit before. I don't remember completing the game though. Profile picture. Freedom Plaza. Police record found. File number 5127X3 key. Probably meaningless. Why do I always sound like that? Yeah, I don't sound as depressed as I used to back in high school. Or excitable. I don't know, maybe I sound normal. Maybe I'm just normal. Episode 1. The clock struck 13. Symes, you're online, good. Call me Symes, I will be your advisor on Orwell. Together we will form both the first and the last line of defense against terrorism. For this test phase, you are one of the first people to try out the Orwell system under real circumstances, selected from thousands of applicants from across the globe. Normally, congratulations would be in order, but as you can see from that footage, there has been an incident, so let's get started. I've activated the Reader tool for you. Its purpose is storing bookmarks to online websites and documents for easy access, and to highlight when there is new information to be investigated. First, I want you to be informed of the situation. Our leading newspaper, the National Beholder, will bring you up to speed. I already don't want to read it. The leading newspaper? The leading newspaper of the nation, fast, precise, honest. Feel free to browse the National Beholder. I've activated the profiler. Open the unknown person file once you're done. Unknown person, that. Alright, so it says here, bomb obliterates Freedom Memorial and kills 3. Explosion, Bonton. Explosion destroys the Freedom Memorial in Bonton. 3 people killed, 5 severely injured. Authorities received strange letter. Read more. Bonton. At approximately 7:50 p.m. on Wednesday evening, an explosive device detonated at the Freedom Plaza in Bonton. According to official police reports, 3 people were killed, and at least 5 bystanders were severely wounded. The Freedom Memorial was nearly completely destroyed. Police forces closed off the area immediately. Experts believe the attack was an act of terror, with police confirming that the explosive device was homemade and triggered from a short distance away using a cell phone signal. Police reports also confirmed that several hours earlier, an anonymous letter containing the first 3 stanzas of the German folk song Die Gedanken sind frei, the thoughts are free, had reached local authorities. Prime Minister Blaine immediately issued a public press statement firmly condemning the assault and put the nation on high alert until the perpetrators have been brought to justice. What does this mean? JP? Alright, so that's April 13th, 2017. Negotiations in Triflith failed. Peace negotiations in the riot-ridden Pargesian capital city Triflith have been aborted without any result last night. Independent sources report that President Kassart abruptly cut off communication with opposition representatives as the latter presented a tangible plan for the organization of re-elections. The news about the premature cancellation of the negotiations caused thousands of people to resume demonstrations in the capital. It has been reported that demonstrators wearing hoods threw incendiary material into shop windows and onto cars. The police struggled to keep the situation under control. Prime Minister Blaine states his worries about the negative developments regarding the political situation of the neighboring country and has requested both sides to resume diplomatic discussions. Movie shooting completed. 100 Grey Shadows. Hilberry, shooting of Grey Shadows saga lasting 4 years finalized. Hilberry. After a lengthy shoot in the hills of Bonton, self-proclaimed visionary director Sumishi Aran announced that filming of his eagerly awaited romantic drama, 100 Grey Shadows, has finally come to an end. Announced via his Timelines profile yesterday, the brash director said he was eager to begin post-production and the final editing stages, before the conclusion to the Grey Shadows series would hit the cinemas on Valentine's Day next year. The third and final chapter in the Grey Shadows saga, previous releases being A Grey Shadow and Another Grey Shadow, was announced to be released almost 4 years ago, but was postponed numerous times due to production problems. Fans have speculated that this was largely due to the breakdown of Hollywood power couple Betty Vaughn and Mike McNeil, who have had long-lasting quarrels during the filming as a result. One production hand was reported to say that these spats were getting out of control, and that completion of any scene featuring both actors was nothing short of pulling teeth. When we reached out to Rhubarb Productions to get a comment, they declined the rumors and claimed them to be mere speculation. HH. So this was completed April 13th. That was April 13th. These are all April 13th. Wow, 100 Grey Shadows. The completion of that movie caused terrorism. Wow, that's what I got from that. It's a good day to fall in love. Singular. Is that what this game is all about? Is that what this is about? Stelligan University, study with future. www.stelliganuniversity.tna. Alright, unknown person. Date of birth. Oop. The profiler holds all known information on those we investigate. The file you have opened is for our main suspect. The blue-haired woman that the CCTV footage shows before the assault is no stranger to the police. Take a look at the arrest record. Watergate, Cassandra, July 10th, 2016. Bonton Police Database. The highlighted elements in the record are pieces of data that are able to be extracted. We call these elements data chunks. Hovering over data chunks will reveal the relevance to the case and any connections or information it may influence. Drag and drop all data chunks from the police database into a profile to upload them to our servers. Arrest date, July 10, 2016. Charge, assault on a police officer. Arresting officer, Duncan Lloyd. Holding facility, Bonton Central PD. His name is actually Lloyd Duncan. So her name is actually Cassandra Watergate. Commas. Wow. I report. Suspect was arrested on site after Officer Franklin had been struck by an unknown object and became unresponsive. The protesters at the origin of the assault were forcibly moved, where the suspect was found kneeling and weeping on the ground. When asked to lay on the ground with her hands behind her back, the suspect cooperated immediately. Okay. Sandra Watergate. Anything else? Data has been submitted. Picture. Assault on a police officer. Very good, says Symes. Pictures and names are crucial information for Orwell to identify a person. Information in documents can only become a data chunk when it can clearly be assigned to a target person. Add the reason for Miss Watergate's prior arrest that has just been unlocked. We will need this info to progress. Assault on a police officer. Previously arrested for assault on a police officer. Good. With the data you extracted from the police record, a new document can now be assessed. can now be accessed. Now, let me ask you a question. Do you believe in coincidence? I do not. Find data revealing where she attacked the police officer and you'll see what I mean. Is this woman a terrorist? From the National Beholder. July 25th, 2016. Woman allegedly injured police. Blah, blah. Okay. The case that keeps the media and the public guessing. Cassandra W., pictured above, who had allegedly injured a police officer severely 2 weeks ago, is still being held in police custody. The young woman is accused of having hit the victim's head with a large brick. The incident occurred during a rampage at the Freedom Plaza as part of a demonstration against the newest amendments to the government's model project, the Safety Bill. The exact same location as the assault, then she turns up there right before the explosion? Surely not a coincidence. As you know, Miss Watergate is still running around freely. We should find out why. We should also gather more background information on her. I want to know who we're really dealing with. Due to the chaotic nature of the scene, police have not yet been able to connect the crime to the accused Cassandra W., who is an artist by profession. Has denied the accusations completely and has asked her fans to show their support. Syme says, oh yes, one who does street art by blowing memorials to pieces by any chance? Great, you have found another document. Before we go on, let's clarify your job and how it affects mine, shall we? You have extracted all the info I already knew about Miss Watergate. Starting now, I'm going into this case blind. The Orwell Ethical Codex dictates that investigators like yourself are the only ones allowed to access the documents of target persons. Advisors like me only get to see the data provided by the investigators. They will then draw conclusions and request action. Your primary job is to provide information you deem important, never give away incorrect or misleading data. You may hit disable on a data chunk you do not want to pass on to Orwell. However, some data chunks might be necessary to progress on the case. Trial has now been scheduled for mid-August. Catherine Delacroix, Secretary of Security, labeled the alleged perpetrator alongside the other writers as anti-governmental terrorists. Anti-government, so no camera. Cassandra's portfolio, harboring outstanding art. Welcome to the port of Cassandra Watergate. Hi, I'm Cassie, a colorful inhabitant of Wonderland right behind the rainbow. Glad you found me. Finally found the courage to... Syme says, so you're under the impression that our wonderful Miss Watergate is really living in Wonderland? Somehow I doubt that. Call it intuition. People's lives are hanging in the balance here. What if you pass me something I cannot identify as wrong so easily? You've got to be more careful next time around. Finally found the courage to quit my dull day job, focus on my art career, and put my stuff on portfolio. Below you'll find a hand-picked selection of my latest works. You can browse through them by clicking on the arrows on the left and right side of the pictures below. Interesting. We should find out what that job was. See something you like? Why, of course you do, because it's freaking awesome, isn't it? Leave a message on my UTEL account, the Cassie92, and tell me which piece you'd like. I'm gonna make a fine art print and ship it right away to your doorstep. Best thing, free of charge. Now off you go and have fun. Good. You found a chat handle. That will allow us to overhear any conversation on that account. The listener has now been unlocked. New conversations will appear whenever they are started. The Businessman's Forgotten Daughter. It's a title that she has. daughter of entrepreneurs. A Christmas present for my darling in a relationship. Dude, people IRL are going to be really thrown off by the information that I give because it's think tank. Think tank. Actually, let's define think tank. I don't just say that I'm thinking when I'm not, or something. Define think tank. A body of experts providing advice and ideas on specific political or economic problems. What is that in simple terms? So it's an institute. Okay. What is an independent think tank? Non-profit, non-governmental organization that conducts in-depth research, analysis, and advocacy on public policy issues such as economics, foreign policy, or technology, without direct control or funding from governments. Okay, what is an independent thought creator? Independent thinker or free thinker. These individuals are characterized by their ability to form opinions based on their own reasoning and research rather than adopting the views of others or adhering to popular, dogmatic, or conformist opinions. Based on someone with their own reasoning and research, rather than adopting the views of others, adhering to popular conformist opinions. What do you call that behavior? Based on the behavior of relying on one's own research, reasoning, and critical evaluation rather than adopting those views. This approach is best described as independent thinker, independent research. Individuals who engage in this behavior are often described as independent thinkers, critical thinkers, or nonconformists. Why would someone who, what does that say? Why would my poop be green? Why would the U.S. want Greenland? Why would Nancy Guthrie be abducted? Was she? Alright, what I was gonna ask was, why would critical thinkers, why would someone who doesn't like critical thinking exercises become a critical thinker? Someone who dislikes critical thinking exercises might become a critical thinker to avoid manipulation, solve or adapt to new, complex, or environments. Why was this written this way? Necessity often overrides a dislike for the effort required, turning the skill into a tool for self-protection, better decision-making, or career advancement. Necessity and self-defense, problem-solving needs, personal, professional, or academic problems that cannot be solved by, or intuition often require a systematic, analytical approach. That's weird. Now it's adding a bunch of commas. I just said something about commas. Dude, everything is connected. Cognitive growth, overcoming dislike, of that is that. And this be critically thought about. Yes, this sequence of words can be critically thought about by analyzing its lack of semantic meaning, grammatical structure, and communicative purpose. It serves as a study in ambiguity and form over substance, challenging the reader to find coherence where none exists. According to them, right? The text consists of prepositions of, articles, the, and conjunctions, pronouns, that, is, without nouns, verbs, or subjects. It is a syntactical void with no information. I like that. Syntactical void. Cool term. All right, I'll be here. I hope that you're, if you're approached by anyone about anything, I hope that it's a good conversation, or, just be prepared for, being on your best behavior.
Yeah.
All right. Structural evaluation. Functional critique. She doesn't have to be on her best behavior. I'm just giving advice as an independent thinker. But people are still... I think people, they see me, they hear me. Like, who are you? What do you do? Where are you from? Where do you live? That's the toughest part. I remember someone from Sweden. Somebody said they're Swedish or something. If that was their first language, they said, you have to be established somewhere. Anyways. Is there always coherence where 99% of people think there isn't? While it is not strictly a law of nature that coherence always exists where 99% of people think it doesn't, there is a strong recurring phenomenon where a hidden underlying coherence exists despite widespread perception of chaos, randomness, or falsehood. This often occurs due to cognitive biases, the illusory truth effect, or the difference between local and global viewpoints. What appears to be 99% chaos to observers is often a complex, organized system that is not immediately apparent. What if trying to make coherent... No, you know what? Let's just continue the game for now. Alright, where were we? Cassandra Watergate. Alright, so we gotta go to this listener thing. Chat. April 13th session, unknown person. Hey you. Hey Jossie. I can't seem to find my credit card. I assume you took it, right? You got me, Sherlock. I'm in the middle of buying all of Bonton with that platinum card I lifted from your desk. Can't stop me now. So this is a live incoming session of text messaging? Is this McDonald's? Siam says she stole a credit card of an unknown person. If you're able to find out who she was talking about, we could lock it for the owner. Unknown person said, well, luckily for you, I don't mind you going on a splurge as long as you pick up some wine for dinner. So maybe as her partner, relationship partner. Cassandra said, wine? What does Joseph Langley, my fearless attorney and all-around badass, have in mind this time? Okay, so this is probably Joseph Langley, probably not her relationship partner. Related document found. Joseph Langley, lawyer. Wait, she stole the credit card of her lawyer? Really? I like how Symes is saying that she stole it, like, socially, what she did wasn't really stealing because it, unspoken human rule. Anyways, well, we should be able to track the credit card of this Langley down and lock it for him. Done. No need to thank me, Mr. Langley. Symes. He says, you now have a profile for a related person. it can be accessed via the profiler. Data chunks will only appear for targeted persons and can only be extracted into their relevant profiles. Anyways, Cassandra Watergate said, perhaps just a business call from one of his favorite clients. Actually, yes, that's exactly what's going to happen. Very serious business, Cassandra, said Joseph Langwood. Alright, hold on. Let me move the video capture up. Okay. Cassandra Watergate said, I thought as much. So that's 2 minutes ago. Guess I better pick up shitloads of wine. You'll have to get this client of yours pretty buzzed to handle all that business. Joseph Langley said, 1 bottle should be fine. She's a lightweight. Cassandra Watergate said, oh, whatever. I guess I shouldn't pick up some of those party pills from Big Pharma, aka my parents then. Daughter of pharmaceutical entrepreneurs. Like, thanks for the information, Cassandra. Like, you know you're being launched then, Cassandra. Simon says, Watergate, pharma entrepreneurs. That does ring a bell. He's now thinking, Symes is thinking, maybe it's okay that she stole a credit card. Pharmaceuticals. Also, what if one of these people, Cassandra or Joseph, just suddenly said out of nowhere, at least I'm not wearing a mask and a gray and black jacket live streaming. You know what I mean? Anyways, Joseph Langley says, oh, come on, I was only teasing. Speaking of your parents, when are you going to tell them about us? Okay, so it is a relationship partner. Cassandra Watergate said, yeah, maybe. Gotta go now. Text you later. XOXO. Who the heck does that anymore? Session closed. They should update these games to be more like modern social times. You know what I mean? Anyways, reader. The National Beholder. Procedure closing raises manipulation suspicions. August 10th, 2016. Investigation into the malicious injury of a police officer has been dropped due to lack of evidence. Speculated that the accused's parents manipulated the trial because of the pharmaceutical power. Simon says, Orwell informs me you just encountered conflicted data chunks. Whenever the content of 2 data chunks are at odds with one another, those will be shown as conflicted. When you extract one of the data chunks containing a conflict, the others will become invalid immediately. I'd highly recommend that you clarify the context of the conflict before you proceed, though this is your decision. Once the information has been parsed, there is no way to reverse your choice. Define odds. The ratio between the amounts staked by the parties to a bet based on the expected probability either way. Based on. Define odds succinctly. Odds are a measure of likelihood expressed as the ratio of favorable outcomes in event happening to unfavorable outcomes it not happening. Probability of event above probability of no event is the formula. Used to express risk or in gambling to determine the payout ratio of a wager. Bonton. The case that has been at the center of media attention for the last month has finally come to an end. Cassandra W. was acquitted of the alleged assault against a police officer before the trial took place, with the case being closed due to lack of evidence yesterday. However, the case might be reopened should new evidence be discovered. This is what I figured, says Symes. A pity that the CCTV feed did not actually help. Maybe it will today. The suspect's lawyer, Joseph Langley, pictured above, welcomed this outcome. At no point has there ever been any valid evidence that my client was guilty. At no point at all. The revered defense attorney commented during a post-trial press gathering. The defense successfully brought video evidence depicting the incident in question, which eventually turned the tide of the proceedings. Meanwhile, the relatives of the victim expressed their disappointment on hearing the result of the lawsuit. They openly voiced their concerns that the wealthy family of the accused might have influenced the outcome in her favor. Products. Watergate Pharmaceuticals enriches lives with our industry-leading range of products, making an important contribution to your well-being. Watergate Pharmaceuticals, Methrin Blue. New lemon taste, nice. Below you will find a small selection of our most popular products. Ahexaudal Forte, so none of this really matters, I guess. Data Chunks. Bruno Watergate, that's her parent. Chief Executive Officer, and Dr. Alice Watergate, Head of Research and Development. Cassandra Watergate, Junior COO. Alice's and Bruno's daughter, Cassandra. Symes says, appointed to be COO of a pharmaceutical company, probably by one of her parents. Being an artist and a junior COO seems quite odd. She also mentioned she had quite a dull job, didn't she? Carrying the family tradition to the next generation, Alice's and Bruno's daughter, Cassandra. Ah, now I see, keeping it a family affair. Headlines. Documents that you have already reviewed may be updated from time to time as events unfold. The reader will notify you when that happens. The National Beholder just published the new article. You may want to take a look and see if there's any new information available. Crime rate continues to drop. Thursday morning, the Ministry of Security published the new crime. For some reason, I'm bored of the game already. I wonder if this is more my mom's type of game. If this kind of thing excites her. Doesn't excite me. Not really, anyway. Tired of reading all this. Is that actually the same person? No, I think so. Anyways. Chief Operating Officer. We are urgently looking for a Chief Operating Officer to replace the retired formerly appointed predecessor. Or maybe I was wrong and nothing stays in the family. Ouch. This is probably what she meant about quitting her job. Good. Apparently, I am thinking that our Miss Watergate underwent quite a radical change. Don't you agree? Let's find out what happened in between these two lives of hers. What may have caused this radical shift? Cassandra's timeline. Status. You're invited to tea inside the rabbit hole. Birthday, September 13th, 1992. She's younger than me. Interests. Art, music, activism. Art, music, activism. What a lineup. F all of you government lackeys. Opposes the government vehemently. Well, well, Miss Watergate, we aren't too fond of you either. So that's instantly a target. As soon as you say F this, then people who are watching, they say they don't like that. And it's just instant. Judgments, 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 judgments. Mary, just shut your freaking mouth, okay? I mean, that's what this Orwell thing would have you believe, that it's just judgments, just pure judgment. Broken friendship with Mary Bly. How sad. Sandra's in a relationship with Joseph Langley. With her lawyer? Might be noteworthy. Henceforth, Cassandra shall be known to the world as Cassardus. As a spirit kiddo, now I'd like to Simon says, an alias name. You know, people on the web, so many names, so many identities. It's always good to record every alias. Then we can match data chunks to target persons whenever they are using them. Now I'd like to invite you to our little activist group. Harrison O'Donnell. Protest. An activist group. Is there anything more specific? Hey, did you hear about the Freedom Plaza bombing? Yeah, don't remind me. You know I have a history with that place. Already effing me up enough that I have to catch a bus from there every day. Catches the bus at Freedom Plaza every day. Too many bad memories. And now I was just there. Now I was there just moments before this happened. Simon says, meaning her presence there before the bombing could be coincidence after all. I'll reserve my thoughts until we find more evidence. Oh, I never should have gone to that damn protest. Darling, you don't need to justify yourself to anybody, especially not to me. Cassandra says, I was so happy when Goldfells accepted me into thought. Goldfells. Co-member of Thought. An activist group called Thought. Interesting. Maybe this is what influenced her. And who is Goldfells? We should find something that shows her current attitude and see if we're following the right person. I was so okay, yeah, I think it was way if yeah, no, would not have been called terrorist in all the papers. You're not a terrorist, okay? Ain't I? You sure? Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Oh, damn it. What? Your card's not working here. Can't buy anything. Have you gone bankrupt or something? Unless you went on a serious shopping spree, there should be plenty of money on there. I guess we'll have to go without wine then. Here's the thing. I've got an important appointment tonight. It's surprisingly off schedule and I can't postpone it. You've got to be kidding me. I'm very sorry, darling. We'll see each other tomorrow. You always have an appointment. Appointment here, appointment there, appointment every... How can you constantly do this to me? Darling, please just calm down. Have you taken your methadone? Ooh. Disconnects on medication methadone. What's this methadone? Can you look that up for me, please? So I keep my mouth shut whenever you leave me. Antidepressant to help stabilize your emotions. She might be emotionally unstable if she's reliant on this medication. Looking at what you have extracted so far, we're dealing with a potentially dangerous personality. I'll indicate that to law enforcement. Ellen, please, it's not right. Yes, damn it. Is the only thing that matters to you that I am on effing happy pills all day? Darling, please, it's nothing like that, you know it. So I keep my mouth shut whenever you leave me hanging. If I don't show up at this appointment, I risk losing a very important client. Fine. Don't you understand that? Oh no, I totally understand. Don't you risk losing a very important client of yours now? Cassie, don't be like that. I get it. I guess I'm just not an important client anymore. Oh, come on, Cassie. Going home now in case I'm getting up on that priority list of yours anytime soon. Please. Work hours. Home hours. You probably wouldn't have done that. Or she would have been more understanding or something like that. Crime rate continues to drop. Something important. The party. Our principals put into action. The safety bill. Safety bill is passed. The party is elected. Crimes per 100,000 population. Wow, nice work. The safety bill is a collection of safety-centered laws and statutes created with the ultimate goal to protect the freedom of the nation's citizens. Peacekeeping. You're invited to, okay. Thoughts are free. If liberty means anything at all, it means the right to tell people what they do not want to hear. Freedom is unfree. It's cams everywhere, even at the Freedom Plaza. Is it just me, or is that more than just a little bit, I don't know, ironic? You probably all know me as that blue-haired punk. Like, to anybody that wasn't me. We were there because we wanted a peaceful protest. We have always been against violence. Adverse attitude towards violence. Huh. If you think that is our actual attitude, we might be barking up the wrong tree after all. What is the formula? Freedom of the people. Freedom. What is the formula? Formula freedom of the people over freedom of the government is generally understood in political ratio. It's not a recognized economic or political science ratio formula. However, interpreting it conceptually, it represents the balance of power between citizens and the state. Based on political philosophy, this ratio likely yields the following: high ratio, high freedom, low government freedom. Just libertarianism, individualism, or an anarchy-like state. A low ratio, low freedom, high government freedom suggests authoritarianism, totalitarianism, or a police state. An optimal ratio, often considered in democratic theory to be a balance where the government has enough freedom to function and protect rights, not enough to oppress, maximizing ordered liberty. What is the main idea of establishing government? The main idea of establishing government is to create a structured authority that maintains order, ensures safety, and protects the rights of others. What is the main idea of establishing an anti-government? The main idea behind establishing an anti-government movement or ideology is to challenge, resist, or dismantle the existing state authority. So Symes, anyways, back to the game. Alright, we found so far is all good and interesting. What we found so far. I think we should be searching for something a little more concrete. We have to dig deeper. Juliet Carrington. Hey Cassie. Hi Jules. Cassie, I just wanted to know your post on timelines about this assault. You really shouldn't write this up. Really, Jules? You're not gonna preach to me about this stupid post, are you? No. You really shouldn't write something like that. I just wanted to know what's wrong, Cassie. It's nothing. Just between the two of us. I just had to let off steam, you know? It's because of what happened, isn't it? Yeah, and lots of other shit today. This bombing stirred up all this crap again. You know, what I did? What happened there wasn't your fault. I think Cassandra, when she's saying this bombing stirred up all this crap again, you know what I did? I think she's just being paranoid. No one's really after her, you know? Julia Carrington says, Cassie, you hurt that officer to save me, and you succeeded. You mustn't forget about that. That was so brave. How can it not have been my fault? Julia, I smashed the freaking skull of a father of 2 children because I lost it. Who knows what would have happened if you hadn't stopped him? And this is why you really should remove this post. I feel like an a-hole, the worst kind of a-hole. It might be free, but not rightly so. I'm not innocent. Look, Cassie, nobody's innocent. You'll have to let go. You'll have to let go. Knowing how society works, I think that we should let Cassandra Watergate go. Injured a police officer to protect Julia Carrington. What? Where did that come from now? This is perfect. We can arrest her and open the investigation again. However, we probably won't be able to hold her for long if it really happened in defense of this Julia. Very good work. The intervention team is already on its way. We'll need to wait for confirmation. Next stop, Wonderland, right? Just kidding. Next time, be careful of providing the wrong data, though, okay? In Miss Watergate's case, it was not a problem to get her address with the help of local police due to her former record. I thought about what you said. Maybe you're right. I should take the post down. It'd be better, believe me. Wait a second. Somebody is at the door. Be right back. Okay, I'll wait. By the way, how is your boyfriend? We're still together? You haven't been talking about him all that much lately. Well, not as much as before. Hello? Are you still there? Cassie? I'll inquire if all went well with arresting Miss Watergate. You did a good job in any case. Although we have no proof she is involved in the bombing, we might be able to question her. Despite acting in defense of this Juliet, she seems to be quite unstable and a threat. Okay, I just received confirmation that she is now in custody. Very good work indeed. I'm curious about this thought group though. Whether they... Oh god. No. Take a look at the news. 2 dead after second explosion. Explosive charge set off at... That is horrible. 2 dead, similar approach, same letter found, so these assaults are connected. And as if that wasn't enough already, Miss Watergate was in custody at the time, so that's her out of the picture, at least for this attack. Ugh, this complicates matters massively. So much for our simple test case. I need to speak to my superiors, see how we are to proceed given these extenuating circumstances. You did good today. You can log off and get some rest by clicking the button on the top right of the desktop. Try and get some sleep. I have a feeling the next few days are going to be trying at best. German folk song. Is that a real song? Why does freedom of thought lead to bombs? The opposite of freedom of thought. The opposite of freedom of thought is thought control, often manifested through censorship, indoctrination, propaganda, and dogmatism. It represents a state of intellectual coercion where independent, critical, or unconventional thinking is suppressed by authorities or conformity, restricting individuals to forced belief systems. And authorities and conformists detect freedom of thought without anything being said. Yes, authorities and conformists can often detect nonconformity or independent thinking without anything being explicitly said, primarily through behavioral cues, subtle nonverbal cues, and in the future, potentially through neuroimaging. While thought crime is generally not punishable in legal systems that protect freedom of thought, observers can infer mental states based on deviations from established norms. If observers can infer mental states based on deviations from established norms, can they effectively lock people out of the system they work within? Yes, observers, specifically automated behavioral analytic systems or security personnel, can infer mental states, such as intent, stress, or malice, based on deviations from established norms, and use these inferences to effectively lock people out of systems. This approach is known as behavioral access control or user behavior analytics. Is behavioral access control and user behavior analytics are behavioral access control and user behavior analytics considered oppressive? Behavioral access control and user behavior analytics (UBA/UEBA) are increasingly viewed as potentially oppressive or invasive if implemented without strict ethical guidelines, transparency, and data minimization. While they are highly effective industry standard security tools used to detect insider threats, account takeovers, and data exfiltration, the reliance on comprehensive monitoring of individual actions raises significant privacy, autonomy, and ethical concerns. Arguments for why they're considered oppressive: pervasive surveillance, monitoring of daily activities, panopticon effect, awareness of constant monitoring, these symptoms also look like in people? Considering mental illnesses and conditions that are defined by health organizations and societal norms. Loss of autonomy and chilling effect, opaque decision making, misuse of data, witch hunts. Yeah. Pervasive surveillance without technology, often termed analog or physical surveillance, refers to the systematic, widespread observation of people's movements, actions, and interactions in daily life using human-centric methods rather than digital tools. Neighborhood watch networks. In authoritarian settings, neighbors are encouraged or required to report on one another's visitors, conversations, and habits to local informants and spies. The employment of paid or coerced informants within communities, schools, and workplaces to report on political dissent or subversive behavior. What is considered political dissent and subversive behavior in modern USA, especially? In the modern United States, political dissent, the public expression of dissatisfaction with government policies, is generally protected by the First Amendment, ranging from protest to civil disobedience. Subversive behavior, however, moves beyond a mere disagreement into actions designed to undermine, destabilize, or overthrow the government, often involving. Okay. It's considered political dissent in residential areas, having to do with residential politics. Political dissent in residential areas, particularly regarding residential politics like homeowners associations, local zoning, or neighborhood policy, involves actions that express opposition to the governing rules, elected officials, or collective decisions of that community. Usually targeting who or what is residential political dissent, which involves protest, demonstration, or activism taking place at or near the private homes of individuals, is usually targeted at. That's still not the right term then. What is the resident neighborhood watch form of dissent? Community-based, nonviolent, and grassroots effort to challenge perceived insecurity, crime, or lack of local control. It functions as a form of social resistance, encouraging citizens to take responsibility for local safety, rather than relying solely on official law enforcement. Sure what to ask, but it gives me an idea. Residents actively watch for and report suspicious activity, individuals or vehicles in the neighborhood. Okay. What if proactive surveillance from residents neighborhood watch is at odds with police? When proactive surveillance by a neighborhood watch becomes at odds with law enforcement, it generally results in the breakdown of the partnership, creating significant legal, safety, and operational liabilities for residents. Neighborhood watch groups are designed to act as the eyes and ears of the police, passively observing and reporting, rather than acting as vigilantes. If a neighborhood watch operates in conflict with police, the following consequences and risks often arise. Vigilantism, which can lead to criminal charges or civil lawsuits. Liability for damages, endangering lives, illegal surveillance. In some cases, surveillance methods used by residents may violate privacy laws or the Fourth Amendment, especially if it involves constant, covert, or electronic surveillance of private homes. Constant covert surveillance of private homes. That isn't electronic. Non-electronic constant and covert surveillance of private homes primarily involves physical surveillance techniques designed to observe, log, and track activity without using cameras, bugs, or digital recording devices. This is often described as physical stakeouts or manual reconnaissance. Stakeouts. An individual remains in a concealed nearby spot to observe the home. This often takes place in a car, parked in an inconspicuous location nearby or from a neighboring building. Okay, I can see that. Just simply tracking movements by eye, document visitors, times of arrival, departure, and routines. What is the counter form of constant covert? Non-electronic or physical counter-surveillance against the monitoring of private homes involves techniques to detect, disrupt, or avoid observation by human agents. Key methods include physical security enhancements, blinds, curtains, secure fencing, surveillance detection runs, checking for details, counter-reconnaissance, monitoring for strangers/vehicles, and behavioral changes to varying routines. What is the likely outcome for a person who is mistakenly believed to be a surveillance operator, though is also surveilled for that reason? Person mistakenly believed to be a surveillance operator who is subsequently subjected to surveillance for that reason is likely to experience severe psychological, social, and legal consequences, similar to the effects of being wrongfully accused of a crime. This scenario often results in a guilty until proven innocent environment where the individual is treated as a threat despite no wrongdoing. Here are the likely outcomes for a person in this situation. Severe psychological impact, intense anxiety and paranoia, mental health decline, paranoia and self-doubt. Social isolation and stigma, social ostracism, relationship breakdown, invisible status, professional and financial ruin, job loss or career stagnation, financial destitution, legal and safety risks, aggressive surveillance. The person may be subjected to 24/7 intrusive monitoring, including hidden cameras, data tracking, and in some cases, unauthorized physical surveillance. Risk of wrongful prosecution, loss of privacy and rights. The chilling effect of this surveillance can cause them to change their daily behavior, restrict their speech, and stop interacting with others to avoid further suspicion. Loss of privacy and rights. this legal? It's recognized harm that often challenges constitutional rights. So the chilling effect of surveillance, where individuals alter their behavior or restrict speech due to fear of observation, is a recognized harm that often challenges constitutional rights, though its legal status is complex and debated. While excessive, indiscriminate, or secret surveillance often violates privacy rights, Fourth Amendment in the U.S., courts frequently dismiss challenges unless direct, concrete harm is proven, rather than just the chilling rights. All right, well, I guess we just finish work here. Are you sure you want to finish your work for today? All in-process data chunks will expire. Alright, and that is all of Orwell for today. Thanks for having joined. We figured out that Cassandra Watergate killed a police officer, gruesomely, in order to apparently save a friend. And she was let off the hook because of a pharmaceutical company. Pharmaceutical company, because of Big Pharma. Right, episode 2, a place where there is no darkness. We shall continue this at some other point. Welcome back. We don't mind start right away. We have tons of work ahead of us. I do mind. I'm trying to exit here. I met with my superiors and wish to continue with the test case. They believe in the capability of Orwell to handle this all. Indeed, of course. My superiors agree with me based on the information they have already extracted. The activist group known as Thought is worth investigating. It seems that this Goldfalls is an important member of Thought, so we now have clearance to consider them as a target person. Now that Goldfalls is a target person, there may be new data chunks available in documents you have already accessed. Don't forget to go back and recheck your sources. Alright, cool. Well, I'll be back, everyone. What kind of game should I play after this? Is there a reason that I'm playing Orwell? No one plays this game. No one watches this game either. I guess artificial extinction too is next up.